All right.
Ooh.
Yeah, mic volume all the way up now. 3, 2, and live. All right, we are live. It is Christian Bartoletti. It has been Giannetta. We are WDSR Duquesne Student Radio alumni officials. We are going to be doing a college football here on another Friday. We're coming at you before our regular scheduled Pittsburgh Steelers show to do our college football rundown. Ben, you have the schedule in front of you. Pick one of your key games that you want to talk about.
I do. The one game that I think is probably the most important and has the most playoff implications is pretty
Texas.
easy. It's Ohio State, Oregon.
Oh, really? There's no not Texas.
Texas is going to beat on Oklahoma.
Oh, it's the Red River rivalry.
It is the Red River rivalry, and
Oh
I don't
my
think
God.
it'll be much of a game. I mean, Texas is 14.5-point favorites. I think
With Dylan Gabriel's is Oregon.
is in
now.
Oregon
Right.
with Quinn Ewers. He will be playing. He is
Okay.
the starter. Archie Manning is not playing.
Do we think Quinn comes out in a shiesty? It's Red River. It's back in blood. It has to be a shiesty. Has to be worn.
Okay, I mean, you know what? If that makes him play well, I'm all for it. If I'm Sarkisian,
So you've got first is Oregon and Ohio State.
that's
So this is
yeah.
this is the new Big Ten.
This is the new Big Ten. I mean, this is the big game. This is Ohio
But it's not going to be
State.
a game though. It's you think Oregon has a strong chance of coming in here? Is it at Ohio
It's in
State?
Eugene. It is not in
Oh.
Buckeye. It is not in Buckeye country. Not in Columbus. It is in Eugene. Oregon. Or
Are they wearing cool jerseys? Oh, they're always wearing cool
They
jerseys.
are always wearing cool jerseys.
But like, is
Christian.
this one?
They probably will be. I don't look that deep
They don't have them.
into this.
Yeah, you can't.
But
really
Ohio
see.
State, I mean, they haven't really played anybody this year. Like Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, Michigan State, Iowa.
Okay, so yeah,
Not
this
very
is-
good teams. I'm not discrediting
Iowa's
Iowa.
all right, but like
Their offense is garbage. It's been for the last decade. I'm not counting them.
right.
And
So this is their first real test.
this is their first real test. I think that their team is very, very good.
Mm.
I like Quinshon Judkins. I like Will Howard.
Will Howard's great. I think.
Will Howard's very
I think
good.
Will Howard is in this new age of college quarterbacks being insanely good and having all this shine and all this other stuff, like the flashy quarterbacks that talk a whole lot. Will Howard is one of the guys that you don't hear about a lot,
Mhm.
but
Like,
without
literally,
him, that
yeah.
Ohio State offense,
Literally,
if
no one is talking about him.
if you replace him with McCall or any guy that
Well,
was in the
McCall can't play right now. 'Cause
but any guy in the portal or even who they
Yeah.
had last year.
yeah, and but I mean, you could maybe even put Cam Ward in that offense, and he would produce as well as he's producing now.
Well, yeah, right. But Will Howard, so without Will Howard, if this isn't if this is just somebody, some random,
Even if it's Aaron Noland, I don't think they do this well.
right? But it's also key contributing from your freshman standout.
Jeremiah Smith, who
Right, who-
looks like he's going to be better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
That's crazy.
and it's crazy, but it looks like he's going
You're
to.
gonna say that?
People are calling him like the best wide receiver prospect like ever. Like he's tearing it up.
Yeah.
Granted, he hasn't played against a ton of great competition.
So where do you put Ryan Williams then in the whole freshman? Because
Ryan Williams has played good teams. He's played
Right.
freaking Georgia, and he put up almost 200 yards.
yeah, and he did some crazy stuff while he was doing
He
it.
basically won them the game on that last play.
Right, and that's the thing too is that you're just seeing so many freshmen come out and ball, which you're not really used to. But I think Ohio State versus Oregon, obviously Oregon's high-powered offense, same with Ohio State's high-powered offense.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be a defensive showdown?
I
Not
don't-
a defensive showdown, but the defense is going to matter, obviously, because it always does.
Yeah,
But whose defense wins the game, essentially?
I'm gonna say Ohio State's, and honestly, it's because I trust Will Howard more than I trust Dylan Gabriel.
I think Will Howard is like a very polished and pro-ready quarterback.
Yeah, and he played well when he was at Kansas State. I thought he was good there, and then he went to Ohio State. I'm like, okay. I mean, that's a decent fit for him. He'll probably produce well. I mean, he's not probably gonna have outrageous stats like we've seen in past with Caleb Williams and Jane Daniels and Joe Burrow, but I trust Will Howard a lot more than I trust Dylan Gabriel, and that's the only reason why I think Ohio State's gonna win this game. I still think they're a very, very good team. I'd like to see how they play in this game. I mean, this is the very first true, true game that they're playing, and it's on the road in one of the toughest places to play in the country.
Yeah.
I think this is really going to show you what this Ohio State team is made of.
And this is probably has implications now with the 12-man college football playoffs.
Yeah, yeah.
You would think, right, to an extent, and it
Mhm.
depends on how the Big Ten shakes out with is Penn State even that good, and
We're gonna get to that. Definitely gonna get to that.
But I would also take Ohio State in this, and that's also because not only do they have Quinshon Judkins, but they have Travion Hendrickson, and he is just as good as Quinshon Judkins out of the backfield.
Yeah,
And
he is.
it's like they have 2 pro-ready running backs, and
Yeah.
like it's almost like an Alabama running back room from the 2015 and on, where they just have like stacked
They were
up
pumping them out.
right, stacked
was
up NFL
crazy.
talent, and that's what I see from Ohio State. And Ohio State, don't they have? There's somebody in their back end of their secondary on the defense that is really good, and I'm blanking. Is it 12
I
again?
looked at the. You mean Denzel Burke?
Yes,
He's a corner.
Yes, it's the secondary. Yeah, he plays.
Yeah.
Because I remember because Denzel Ward was really good, and he went to Ohio State wearing 12, and now there's another Denzel.
Denzel Burke is number 10.
Oh, never mind.
There's a guy, Bryce West. He's number 12. He's a freshman.
Well, never mind.
But
yeah.
Denzel Ward, he had that big hit in a game against I forget, and then Gus Johnson.
You
was
got
doing that
barbecue
game.
back there.
You got barbecue back there and didn't invite me. Hurt
My feelings. Yeah, love Gus Johnson.
Great
Now that I've done color a couple times, I can definitely grow to appreciate
Mhm.
his genius. But we both take Ohio State here. What do you think? It's a close game here.
I think this is either going to be a
You're gonna hedge your
10
bets.
This is like a 10-point win for Ohio State,
Oh,
or this is like a
man.
28-point win for Ohio State. I really don't
No in
like.
between.
This is going to be like. I don't think this will be a very close game.
Mhm.
I think Ohio State will go out to a lead early, but I don't think Ohio State's ever going to like. I don't think Oregon is ever going to lead in this game. I
Okay.
think that this is going to be a convincing win for the Buckeyes here.
And is it Evan Stewart? Who is the receiver for Oregon? That's really
Evan Stewart, yeah, he was a 5-star
he's
recruit.
transferred. I thought.
And he was like a top 5 recruit and went to A&M.
Yep.
And the whole stuff with Jimbo Fisher, and he got out of there.
Yeah.
Now he's at Oregon.
Yeah.
We've seen great route
And I feel like
receivers
I think
there.
they have a couple, right? They're stacked up at receiver.
I'm
are
not.
they
Yeah, I
not?
mean they've got we're talking about Ohio State's wide receiver room. I mean Oregon's needs to be talked about probably as much. I mean, they
yeah,
have
for sure.
Evan Stewart.
But
who
here's
is-
the big difference that the big difference that you're gonna see between these two teams is I think Ohio State's offensive line will clearly outshine Oregon's.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
Ohio State's offensive line, and it's like guys you've never heard of, like how Alabama's is. Alabama has one of their best offensive lines that they've ever had
Mhm.
in school history, and there's like 4 dudes that are all probably going to be first-round picks, but not all of them are going to come out in this draft. And it's like
Yeah.
Caden Proctor, they
Caden
got-
Proctor's a beast.
right?
man.
They got another tackle, a guard, another interior
You
guy.
can say the same thing with Georgia.
Right,
Georgia's
right.
got a monster
It's the
offensive
same way
line
with
this
them.
year.
Unfortunately, as we'll get into later, Georgia products, especially at tackle, other than Andrew Thomas, I'm mainly pointing at Broderick Jones, have not played up to the standard of Georgia offensive linemen. But moving on, so we got the Ohio State-Oregon game out of the way.
Yep, I would argue that's the biggest game. I don't think I'm going to get a ton of pushback on that. Next biggest game.
Probably the highest ranking as well.
Oh yeah, it's 2 versus 3.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oregon is 3.
Oregon moved up to 3
My
after
gosh.
Alabama lost. Yeah.
Even with the loss, you gotta know that Alabama's the better team than Oregon. I
Yeah.
guess they lost to Vandy. That's so tough, though.
It's such a weird.
That's such a blemish
such
on
a
like the
weird-
lifeline.
I don't even know what to say about that. And I was rooting for Vanderbilt so bad. I wanted them to win that game.
I
I'm
know
so
they
happy
talked
that
about
they did.
Pavia a lot,
Dude, because he's the only quarterback in FBS history to
like be a walk-on or whatever. Walk-on
in-
transfer, and then he didn't have
he has
any
been a
NIL.
21-point underdog and won
Oh.
3 times.
Oh wow.
Like 3 times he's been a 21-point underdog, and he's won all 3 times. Well, he's probably been underdog more than that, but he's won
Right.
3 times.
I
in that.
just heard about his story. He came out of high school with no offers and went to like a JUCO or something.
Yeah, it's a
and,
great
walked
story.
on and went all about it. But the next game that you have, you said you want to talk about Penn State. Is that the next one we're going to talk about?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Penn State USC.
Oh wow.
Great game. Penn State, 4th in the country.
USC now in the Big Ten.
Yes, also now in the Big Ten. Big Ten is getting a lot of good games. I mean, they added a lot of good teams. But Penn State, 4th in the country. Should they be 4th in the country? Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
This is a
I thought they lost. They didn't lose yet.
no. They're 5-0. They've come close to losing
A couple
games.
times. Yeah. Well, it's you expect more from Drew Aller, and you're not getting what you expected out of him.
They beat Bowling Green by 7
Yeah,
points.
that's the game. I
They
remember
beat
that.
Bowling Green by 7
I
points.
remember that game. That was absurd, and I was rooting against them because we're both Pitt guys, and
Mm-hmm.
Penn State's just Penn State. So
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm biased, but I still think that USC is going to win this game.
yeah,
I don't have a ton of confidence
Is
and
it
Drew
Miller
Aller.
Moss? Who
It
is
is Miller Moss?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of confidence in Drew Aller. I like Nick Singleton. I mean, he's a great running back. But I like Miller Moss. I like Zachariah Branch. I like Kalen Hudson.
Right.
All great guys. I think that USC's
And they have a guy in the back end. Who is their safety? Because I know their safety is really
Penn
good.
State or USC.
USC safety. They have a really good safety, and I think they have a decent corner. And I forget both of their names, and I should know it because I did a USC dynasty on college football. But
You remember what number? Oh, was it Zion Branch?
no,
No, it's not Zion Branch.
It's funny enough. It's the guy who's dating Suni Lee. Don't ask me why I know him from that. He's dating Suni Lee. I think he's number 15 or something. It's something crazy. But he's
Oh, Anthony Beavers Jr.
no,
Oh, he's number 15. And he's a safety.
Yeah, no, it's not probably not 15.
Oh,
Then.
Anyways,
You
I
can-
think,
I can go by stats, or I'll probably just Google Suni Lee boyfriend, and we're gonna find it.
yeah, but I mean, I think that USC wins this game. I think it'll be
Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith.
Yeah, I don't know who. he is,
Beast.
but if he's playing well, I mean, but I think that USC wins this game. I
Is
got
it
more
comfortably?
I'm
Do
not
they
gonna
win?
say comfortably. I'm
Okay.
gonna say touchdown, field goal, 5-6 points. That's probably the margin of victory here. I mean, I don't see Penn State winning this game. If they do, they are a whole lot better team than I thought they were, and they deserve to be ranked 4th in the country. I don't think that.
That's what's so crazy, because they don't. To me,
You put Penn State up against Georgia, Georgia's gonna smack them. And
Could-
Georgia's 5th in the country.
did Penn State even get up to 4th whenever Saquon was there?
They were second in the country.
Yeah, I thought they were.
And then I
too.
think they lost to Ohio State.
Right,
and
which
then they-
is going to happen again. They're not for real. So in the case of the NFL, where everyone's doing the pretenders versus contenders
Mhm.
debate, I think if you do that here, especially for Big Ten championship, Penn State pretender.
Absolute pretender.
I think USC could also be a pretender.
I think
You can put them
USC
in
is a
that.
pretender. I think the only contenders are Ohio State and probably Oregon.
Yeah.
Those are the only two.
So
real
this could be
contenders.
the future of the Big Ten championship.
This could be the
They
the,
could put-
the Big Ten championship could be a rematch of this game.
Right.
I can absolutely see that. I don't think Michigan's that good. I'm sorry.
Right. No. Molly doesn't matter. No. Well, in this context, we don't care about Michigan. We don't go blue.
Alex Orji's not a good quarterback.
Oh my gosh, he is putting the
Cannot
big
throw the ball.
dude. He is putting the biggest the biggest lock on that offense. He is weighing them down. He's the anchor. He
Yeah, and
is
it's
sinking
not like
the
Davis
team.
Warren was even any
No,
better.
they all like.
And
It's
then-
crazy how good. How could you have that good of a program, win a national championship,
And
and
then
then not be able to recruit a quarterback?
That's insane. I
Like,
guess they
They thought Orji was going to be
like
the guy.
they looked
How?
at Orji last year and they're like, you know what? Yeah, this
Orji
guy
in
can
the end
throw
zone.
the football.
We won Orji in the end zone. I never understood it either, and I'm the same way with you. I
And
kind of.
after playing college football 25, I know how to recruit.
You know what's funny? Yeah, well, facts. Trust me, I'm not going to be a P5 or a P4 massive team coming off of a natty win and not get a 5-star quarterback that can come in and win games immediately. Pitt landed Holstein, and
Yeah.
and Michigan couldn't get somebody. But
Yeah.
even if say, okay, we just talked about Will Howard, but Will Howard in this offense. I know
if you
Michigan's
put-
bread and butter is their defense. It's like a Pittsburgh
it's
Steeler
their
kind of.
defense and their run game. It's
Right.
I mean,
Because Donovan Edwards,
they
right?
laid. I don't even think Donovan Edwards is that good. I really don't think he's that good. I
This
think that-
season or just
Who's
his ability?
who's their this season? Who's their backup? I think their backup's better.
Oh, well, Orji
That
might be a
Mullins
better
guy?
running back.
Yeah. but
Oh, Mullins.
that
Okay,
Mullins
yes.
guy, he's been playing so well.
Yeah.
He's been playing so well.
But you can't beat having probably. I want to say the two best defensive players in college football, and it's tough to say that
yeah,
because
Will Johnson.
there's
and,
Abdul Carter and there's other guys.
Abdul Carter's a great. he's
Yes,
great.
yeah, it's tough to say, and obviously you have to say Dylan. You have to put Dylan Stewart in there. I know he's a freshman and he's a true
Mhm.
freshman, but I mean you have to put him in there. And
Yeah,
there's
I mean,
Harold Perkins.
Harold Perkins. You got Dalen Everett from Georgia. Malachi Starks from Georgia.
Oh, right.
And you got Caleb Downs from Ohio State.
right.
Beast, absolute beast.
So who's James Pierce is the other one that I was.
James
thinking
Pierce Jr. from Tennessee.
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's tough to say that. I am ready to say that. I think, and that's what's crazy about it, just to talk, because I like analyzing for NFL draft, not
Mhm.
just because I like college football. I like college football, but I like to watch it for NFL draft future.
Mm-hmm.
I think Will Johnson is one of the better coverage corners in the entire NFL, and I don't know if it's just zone or just man, because he like locks down a half of the field. And in order to do that, you kind of have to know how to play zone. You can't
Mhm.
just lock one man up, but obviously he can follow. But There's something about Mason Graham that I'm in love with, and it like no homo, right? But
You didn't need to clarify.
my fault.
that.
But like just his size, but his athletic ability
Mhm.
and the swag that he plays with a D tackle. I was a D tackle. I could never have played with that much speed. That is like to see his get off,
Yeah, he's
and he like. But normally, whenever you're a more agile pass rusher, as a defensive tackle type, you get gashed in the run and you get blown off the ball, and double teams move you. He doesn't move a whole lot. He stands his ground, and what we were taught growing up was, or at least in high school, is to reset the line of scrimmage. If you're a D tackle, you want to get penetration up the field to play in their backfield. You don't want to get blown back. You want to get them down or stand your ground. And I think Mason Graham does that almost every single play, and I love that he doesn't play on a snap count. And that's the difference that you see with a lot of defensive linemen nowadays. I know this is going to be a Steelers thing. T.J. Watt, Highsmith even, and Cam Hayward, they rotate. It's a rotation on defensive line.
Yeah.
Because they want to go to the sideline on second down, probably going to see a run maybe, so you get your water and you take a break, get a breather, and you go back out for third down to pass rush. I don't think Mason Graham does that, and he shouldn't. You keep your best defensive lineman, your game wrecker, on the field at all times, and I love to see it, and that's why I like Michigan, just because of that ability. But who do they play this week? Michigan, because they just came off a fat loss, and that was bad.
They do. They have a bye week this week.
Okay, well they're gonna
because they just lost to Washington.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Will Rogers, but
UW.
Anyways, next game. This would be also a great game. Red River rivalry. We got Texas,
right.
Oklahoma. Not going to cover this a ton. Quinn Ewers is back. I don't have a ton of faith in Oklahoma's offense. I like their freshman quarterback. This is giving me Caleb Williams, freshman, coming in for Spencer Rattler vibes.
Okay.
Jackson Arnold just really wasn't. Michael Hawkins, I think he's got potential. Of course, he's got to fix the passing, but he's a gifted runner, and I think he'll get there with time. But this is not Oklahoma's year. That was pretty evident when they got walloped by Tennessee. It was final score was 25-15. Game was not that close.
Right, it didn't sound that bad.
No, it wasn't that close. It was kind of a blowout. But I think Texas, they're definitely. I'd be shocked if this team doesn't at least make the semifinals. They're very well rounded. I mean, they've done a great job in the transfer portal. They got Isaiah Bond from Bama, who's a great wide receiver. They picked up Ryan Wingo, great freshman. I mean, they have Quinn Ewers, and I mean Archie Manning.
Isaiah Bond, yeah, and then they're running back.
Isaiah Bond, and
the
then
offensive
even
line.
though they lost their two starting running backs to
Really?
injuries in the offseason. They're both out for the season with injuries, and these freshmen have stepped up. And I think the Texas is probably a 3 or 2 touchdown win for Texas. So that's all.
And their tight end, right? Their tight end has been getting a lot of targets in their offense. Am I wrong?
I mean, he might have with Archie Manning in.
Oh, right.
And even speaking about Archie Manning, like
He didn't play bad when he came in.
he didn't play bad, but he didn't play very good. Like when I hear that Archie Manning,
He's a redshirt freshman now?
he's a redshirt freshman.
Okay.
But I mean, like against Mississippi State, he went 26 for 31, 325, 2 touchdowns. That's a great game. Not discrediting that, but I mean, he did have a rushing touchdown, so I'll give him that. But like, when I hear Archie Manning and that he's Peyton and Eli's nephew, I imagine this guy to be Tom Brady reincarnated.
Second coming of Jesus in his red shirt.
This guy should be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time already.
Redshirt freshman year though. He has 2 more seasons to grow.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And I think he's definitely going to get there. He's got every.
Well, because Quinn's leaving this year, so he's the heir to the throne in that Texas offense.
Yeah, I was
with
really
a good offensive
surprised
coach.
that Quinn even stayed. I really thought Quinn was going to go to the draft last year.
That draft class was packed.
Yeah, and I think that was the right decision for him because this is not as strong as a quarterback draft class. I mean, this year you have
I would say yes.
You got Shedeur Sanders, who I think is overrated.
Cam Ward
is a great quarterback.
You think Shedor's overrated?
I think Shedor's overrated. But that's a topic for another day.
Do you have a Colorado game in there you want to talk about?
We have more time.
Because we could do Pitt for the last game if you want to do Pitt.
Yeah.
Because they played
Cal.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about that for a little bit. Oh,
they play.
Yes, they play Kansas State. Colorado plays Kansas State.
Oh, that's going to be a very good game.
I think Kansas State is probably going to win this game.
I don't know a whole lot about Kansas State other than their quarterback.
I watched them
swaggy quarterback.
absolutely wallop Oklahoma State, but I don't think Oklahoma State is that good.
Who? K-State, Avery Johnson. That's his name. Avery something. I think it's Avery Johnson.
It is
Long-
Avery Johnson.
yep.
Long hair.
Long, luscious locks.
Yeah,
The golden.
he's 6'2". He's a sophomore. He's played well. I think they are building quite the program over there.
Yeah.
Going back to, Will Howard was there last year.
Yeah.
He
And
took
they
over
went to
for
the-
Damian Martinez, who was serviceable
Right.
in his time there. They also had Deuce Vaughn.
Right.
Great
Love
player.
Deuce Vaughn.
I love watching him play because he's so small.
Makes you feel better.
It really does.
Anybody can make it if Deuce Vaughn can make it.
Swear.
As long as you can run a 4.40 and have a dad in the NFL. But, yeah. Anybody can make it.
Yeah. But I think that
Colorado by 20.
Okay.
No,
all
I'm
right.
just kidding. No, here's the thing. I'm not a Colorado, rider. I do like Travis Hunter. I like Jimmy Horn.
Oh, I love Travis Hunter. I just hate that he plays for Colorado.
And I like Shador. But they also say that a lot of their struggles have been because of Dion as a coach, because Dion is not.
No,
He's like
not a coach.
Saban minus coaching. Yeah, he's
Not a
an
coach.
influence. He's a not a bona fide. He's a glorified influencer.
He's a glorified influencer. It's cool that you're probably the greatest cover corner of all time.
Right.
That doesn't translate to coaching.
Yeah. Right. And you can get a lot of recruits that
if
way.
you want to be the defensive coordinator or just the cornerback coach, absolutely, I could see that, and he would probably have a much bigger impact.
Yeah.
If you put him on Colorado and you got an actual head coach, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, they probably do better. But so
Well, you don't think he could be hands off in that organization? I bet he's pretty. I don't know.
I think he does a ton.
You think?
I think he has the final say in pretty much everything.
Oh wow.
That's what I think. But
Well, I mean, yeah.
I don't know,
To,
but that's-
in a sense, he's earned it, but not earned it. Right? Your playing career doesn't contribute to your coaching career, but
no.
as good of a legend as he was,
Yeah.
you'd think he knows a lot. But I don't know. Back to Pitt. Pitt and Cal.
So,
This
yeah,
Cal
yeah.
team is really good.
Pitt and Cal. Cal is, I don't think they came into this year, with high expectations. But
Other than Jay Knott, that's the big.
Jay
person
Nott's
right
good.
now. Yeah.
But this quarterback, I was watching him. He's his name is something Fernando Mendoza. He's a 6'5" sophomore.
Wow.
He's the kind of guy that's gonna he sneak up on you. He's got 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks, but he plays very well. He played well when the team was playing well when they played against Miami, and then everything just kind of momentum is such a real thing. It just kind of went downhill after that,
For sure.
and they went really conservative with their play calling. But I like Pitt here mainly because it's at home,
Yeah.
and they got to come all the way over to the East Coast.
And also because of how crazy Pitt's campus is now. They've been dying with how good their volleyball team is and how good all this.
Volleyball team's killing it.
Yes, and they have been dying for a sport. Please don't come at me if anybody listens. A sport that matters. Volleyball matters. I will say it. Volleyball does
and they
matter.
get people there.
Yeah, but it's not the same draw as playing in an NFL stadium
Mhm.
playing college football.
Yeah,
Only
especially-
2 schools or 3 schools do it.
Especially when we're actually a good team.
Yeah, right.
we are
And they
this
were
year.
so bad last year, and
Mhm.
now they're 5-0, and they look to be. I will say we did the contender pretender thing. I think Pitt is a contender in the ACC. I know it's Miami.
Yeah.
I know everyone thinks it's going to be Miami. I know.
I think Miami almost got beat by Virginia Tech. That game was stolen from Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech should have won that game.
Was there the PI call that
Absolutely.
something I missed? Or
No,
I thought there
I'll
was some sort of a bad call.
there was. I'll show you after we're done. But it was a Hail Mary.
And they called
from-
PI, right?
No, it was a Hail Mary from Miami, and or was it Miami or was
Virginia
it
Tech, and they didn't call
somebody-
it. They didn't call defensive holding or something. It was something like
no,
a missed call.
okay. I think if I remember, because I watched it happen, and I was like, Virginia Tech got screwed. It was
How do I become Virginia Tech? I'm just kidding.
it was a crazy game because I don't think Virginia Tech had any. Yes, no, it was Virginia Tech. It was a Virginia Tech Hail Mary, and kid throws it in the end zone, and I think the Virginia Tech kid comes down with it. He has possession,
Oh.
and he's got his foot in the end zone. But as soon as he comes down, he loses the ball, and
Did you hear that sentence that you just said? As soon as he comes down, he loses the ball.
but he gets a foot down. He's got possession. He hits a player behind him, and then the Miami guy strips the ball from him. And they don't even call it a pick, which they called it an incompletion, and they gave the game to Miami, and they only did that to keep Cam Ward's Heisman hopes alive. It's the only reason they did it.
You don't think he'd be a Heisman hopeful if they lost a game?
No. No, because Jalen Milroe is playing out of his mind.
It's going to Aston Genty or Travis
I
Hunter.
think it should
That's
go
the
to
only
Aston
two.
Genty.
The only two.
Aston Genty is also playing out of his mind. But back to
It's
who's also playing out of sign?
Eli Holstein. And
yeah.
Des Reed. I'd give it to
And
no,
Des Reed.
I wouldn't give it to Des Reed, but I'm saying Des Reed. You know what's funny? If Des Reed doesn't, I think Des Reed's the kind of the receiver that you see go in like the 5th round, like a Braylon Allen. He'd go in the 5th round because he runs like a 4.5 40. I know he's fast, but he'll have something at the combine where they're just like, there's something about him I don't like.
He
and
has
he'll
like
go
the
in the 5th
most-
round.
He's got a ton of. He's such an all like.
He's like Tyreek Hill if Tyreek Hill was like
Was a running
D'Anthony
back.
Thomas because they throw to him. He has like
yeah.
I think it was against UNC. He had like 150 running
Yeah, he
and
did.
180
Yeah,
receiving or something.
he
It was
did.
crazy.
Yeah, he has 374 rushing yards, and he has 322 receiving yards.
Yeah, and he's
like,
a
that's
short little guy
insane.
that's just like twitchy. And
He's 5'8", which is
When I
basically
watch-
my height.
whenever I watch him, for some reason I see Tyreek Hill when I watch him. And it's not like I'm not making a player comp because they play two different positions.
Yeah.
But Des Reed is a tiny little guy. He's a muscle hamster. He's jacked, and he's super fast. And he's just
His
just runs.
cuts are insane.
Right, and he just has the breakaway speed where you're like these guys have the angle. He's done, and then he comes out of it and
He
goes
just
down
runs
the end.
fast, yeah.
Right, it's crazy, and that's even maybe his running style that I see is comparable to Tyreek Hill, but I could see Des Reed being the kind of guy that nobody talks about, like how Izzy Abanikanda went in the 6th round out of Pitt. Nobody talked about him, and obviously he didn't have the career, or it isn't having the career. At least I know he's still a little bit younger.
Just give him a chance, considering how bad those.
Well, they
running backs
just
from
drafted
New York
Braylon Allen, so I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's gone. And I picked up Braylon Allen on my fantasy, but it doesn't matter. Back to it. I could see Des Reed being the kind of guy that even if he goes to Pitt, I could see the Steelers drafting this kind of guy because he fits the bill of like a Jalen Warren.
If they let
Najee go.
Najee go. I mean, this is a guy that you could definitely draft.
Right, and it's like he's definitely would. I think he could come into the NFL and be an NFL runner. It's like
Yep.
they say about that. They said, I forget who it was. I want to say it was Jay Ajayi. Tweeted, Ashton Genty is a top 5 NFL running back who just happens to be stuck in college. That's what he said.
I mean,
He said he's expecting Ashton Genty to come into the league next year and do, I don't know if you want to say a Bijan Robinson or a Jameer Gibbs.
he's gonna have a better year than Bijan Robinson.
Or Jameer
I
Gibbs.
mean, the guy has 1,000 rushing yards and 16 touchdowns.
on like 115 carries or something.
He's averaging 11 yards per carry.
Yes, yeah.
I understand that he's
Yeah.
playing for Boise State
And
and he's playing against, not amazing competition. But even to do that against lesser competition, I mean, it's still incredible. Like, they played Oregon, and they lost by 3 points. He had 25 carries for 192 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns against Oregon, who's supposedly the 3rd team in the country. The guy is incredible.
Yeah.
And he should, if he keeps this pace up, there's no way you don't give him the Heisman.
Yeah, and that's what's hard because Travis Hunter is so great and he plays on both sides and his impact is immeasurable because of what he does.
And when was the last time
Somebody did that.
we've seen anybody do this? No one has put up these
I
kind of numbers.
think Charles Woodson at Michigan played a little bit of offense. I think, and he's obviously the last defensive player to win.
I was thinking it was Desmond Howard.
Yes,
Desmond Howard. Yeah.
That's maybe what I'm thinking of instead of Charles Woodson. But
Yeah, I mean, they both played at Michigan.
Right.
Both
corners.
Yeah.
Right. But back to this Pitt Cal game just to finish us out. You're taking Pitt.
I'm taking Pitt. Yeah, I think.
And if you had to give a margin of victory
9 points.
for Pitt,
Yeah.
and how do their touchdowns come? And final score, and if you have touchdowns, obviously who scores them?
I would give a 30-21 final score. I think we'll have 3 passing touchdowns. 1 to Des Reed. I think 1 goes to Mumfield, and the other goes to. This is tough. I can't.
If you don't say the name, you know the name.
Who do you want me to say?
You know the name to say.
I don't know who you want me to say. I think
you're not thinking Bartholomew here.
I was gonna say Bartholomew, but I'm gonna go Kenny Johnson as my 3rd touchdown. Kenny Johnson, Keontae Mumfield, Des Reed, 9-point victory for the Panthers.
I'm
think we go
going.
6-0.
I'm gonna say 28-24 Pitt.
'Kay.
I'm going to say rushing touchdown Holstein.
Ooh, that's a good pick. I like that.
Defensive touchdown
Ooh.
Pitt. Rushing Reed. Or no, rushing. Who's 5?
Number 5.
Yeah, he's the backup for Reed. He's like the hard hitting guy.
We have Daniel Carter.
Nope.
We have Rodney Hammond.
Rodney Hammond.
Yeah, that was his first game last year.
Is
I
5?
still don't. He's number 6.
6.
I still don't know why He wasn't playing, but I'm kind of glad he didn't play because I don't think we would have
He's
seen
he's
this.
the wrecking ball for
Yeah.
when you have thunder and lightning.
He's 5'9", 200 pounds.
Yes, and Des
And
Reed's 5'8".
Des Reed is 5'8", 175.
Yes.
So that's
Yes,
he's got an extra 25 pounds.
yes, he is a bowling ball when he comes through the hole. I'm going to put him, Des Reed to run one in, or excuse me, not Des Reed, excuse me, Eli Holstein to run one in, defensive touchdown.
And Rodney
Big dog.
Hammond.
Yeah. And then a passing touchdown for Holstein. And see, I want to say Dejon Reynolds, but they just haven't targeted him since that Randy Moss crazy touchdown.
Even
in the back of the
before
end
that,
zone.
I think that was like
His
the
first catch
of the season.
Yes, and they haven't targeted him since, and he's decent. I'll go Mumfield as well. You know,
Okay.
it's crazy. This might be a 42-40 shootout, but I don't know.
I'd love a 42.
I'm expecting Jade not to have a big game against Pitt's defense.
Oh yeah, but
And I know that your secondary is
running
really
backs
good.
they run all over
Yeah.
us. I mean, I saw
And Jade Nott's just that good.
what I mean, but okay, that running back from North Carolina. Granted, he's
Omarion Hampton.
Omarion. Yeah, he's very good.
Right.
And not a lot of running backs are better than him. But he ran all over us, and that kind of was hard to watch. So I think Jay Knott, you're right, is gonna have a good game.
Yep, you're gonna. That's our weekly pick'em for the college football play for week 7 or 8, whatever
This
they're
is
in.
7.
Week 7, college football. We only did a couple of the games, but the games that mattered, especially here on the Bluff at Duquesne for Pittsburgh, WDSR. I am Christian Bartoletti with my co-host.
Ben Giannetta.
Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it, and we're out.
Thanks so much.